Well, you're welcome back to the program. Now, with less than 3 weeks to November the 16th, that's the Bayelsa and Kogi governorship polls date, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is organizing a round table for stakeholders to discuss possible challenges and threat to the success of the elections in both states. Now, the Chief Press Secretary to INEC Chairman, Mr. Rotimi Oyekomi, joins us live from our Abuja studios to explore these issues. Well, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on the program. Now, this is a time that the readiness of INEC is always called into question, and I'm sure you've probably answered that question time and again. But that's not what I'll ask you, at least not now. I'd like to know first, what are the challenges INEC is facing right now ahead of these elections?
Well, the challenges that we have are not different from the peculiar challenges that we have for elections, and we devise means of solving these challenges. But what is making both Bayelsa and Kogi special is this possible outbreak of violence. You recall that in 2015, when we conducted elections in both states, our experience wasn't that pleasant. And we learning from that, and owing to the fact that these are the two major elections we are conducting after the 2019 general elections. All hands are on deck. We are looking at all the risk factors. And in fact, for the first time, we are proactive. We devised what I call proactive stakeholders meeting, which we had last week in both Kogi and Bayelsa, previous week and last week. And we engaged with stakeholders. In Bayelsa, we also called on the traditional rulers last week, and we had fruitful consultations with them, discussions, and they also made suggestions. And during the stakeholders meeting, the DIG operations was there, and we also had a good interaction until the last moment when there was a little argument between the stakeholders themselves, which led to the abrupt ending of the stakeholders meeting. But we are going back to also have a second one. So what is making both Bayelsa and Kogi special is this possible outbreak of violence. And we are stepping up the voter education narratives. We are also stepping up consultations with all stakeholders. We are appealing to the principal actors to remember that no election is worth the life of any human being, and we hope from the promises that they have given to us in Kogi, we had promises from political actors themselves telling us that they will ensure that we have free and fair election. In Bayelsa, we're having the same promises, and we hope that they will keep those promises.
While they're making promises, it's one thing to make promises, it's another thing to keep to those promises. But let's focus on the security aspect. INEC, whether we like it or not, is meant to coordinate, these elections across the state. So how is the security end going, especially your interaction with the security agencies? How well have you covered that end?
We have the Interagency Consultative Committee on Security, on electoral security, and we have been meeting with them, and we have assurances. In fact, there will, in no time, in a few days from now, the aspect of deployment of men will be finalized. The police is the lead agency in election, in securing the environment during elections, and we have firm commitments from the Nigerian police, from the Inspector General of Police and the police hierarchy to help us deal with the situation. Already at the stakeholders meeting in Bayelsa last week, the police said that they were going to deploy about 30,000 police officers, apart from the other officers, men and officers, women and male officers of other security agencies for Bayelsa. In Kogi, over 20,000 police officers too will be deployed. But the important thing for us is not so much about the number of security agents being deployed. It is the intent of the political actors themselves. If people are prepared, if the political actors and their supporters are prepared to conduct themselves in such a way that there will be no outbreak of violence, honestly, the security agency will have nothing to do.
All right.
Election is a joyful activity. You go out, you cast your vote, and you, if you like, you wait around the polling unit area to listen to the counting and announcement of who has won, because that's what we are going to do. And we are looking forward. It's not helpful to be fearful.
Right.
We are just hopeful. And yes, the promises have been made. We are also leaving no stone unturned in ensuring that all the security apparatus are put in place to ensure that, look, if anybody tries anything, he will go in for it. The police have also promised. In fact, the DIG operations at that stakeholders meeting made it very clear that they are conducting surveillances and they have information, and that those that may be planning to foment trouble, he advised them to have a rethink, because according to him, the security agent will be up to the task during the election. So we don't want to believe that things will go wrong. We hope that things will go right. And for once, let's have conclusive election in these two states and not repeat what happened the last time, when violence and other things forced INEC to suspend election in certain areas.
We definitely look forward to a conclusive election. But we'd like to thank you so much for your time on the program. Mr. Rotimi Oyekomi is the Chief Press Secretary to the INEC Chairman. Thank you so much. Well, away from elections, the Senate Committee on Niger Delta is rejecting the 2020 capital budget of the ministry, and that's over the non-completion of major projects in the region. At the ministry's budget defense session in the National Assembly, committee members expressed dissatisfaction over many abandoned projects across the Niger Delta states.
Heads of government agencies are still defending the 2020 budgets of their organizations at the National Assembly. It's the turn of the Minister of Niger Delta to present his ministry's 2019 budget performance and give a breakdown of its proposed expenditure for 2020. But members of the committee are unhappy with the ministry's budget for several reasons.
This one, you just take this one and stamp on our face, and projects are abandoned and you're living everywhere, and then you want us to do new projects and tell us 50%. What of those ones that are big issue have left? Honorable Minister, we need to look at this budget again with you, and we expect you to do your cleanup, because if the documents we needed were not supplied to us.
I would advise you, I think people should reject this budget and do something worthy to be remembered in history. The budget style that you have now is not different from the one you made last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And that's been the problem. This type of budget doesn't produce anything visible for people.
However, speaking to journalists afterwards, the minister acknowledges that there has been no capital releases so far in the 2019 budget.
I think instead of saying that the budget was rejected, I think that the distinguished senators should collectively make an appeal to the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning to improve upon the envelope and to expand it a little so it can capture and at least substantially most of the yearnings and aspirations of the good people of Niger Delta. And again, there is nothing we could have done about the budget based on the fact that we are yet to receive even 1 naira for the capital project for 2019.
The committee directs the minister to rework the budget and return it on Monday, October 28. Linda Kibe, Channels Television News.
Get the deadline the National Assembly set for the end of the appropriation process is December this year. So look forward to them meeting that deadline. Well, that's it on Lunchtime Politics this afternoon. Thank you for watching. And don't forget, you can always join the conversation on our social media platforms at Channels TV and at CTV Politics. I am Kayode Kikelu. Have a great day ahead.